You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio on Faith Talk Atlanta, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Here's your host, author, founder of Southern Sisters Home, and true Southern sister, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
Hey there, and welcome to the Southern Sisters Radio program. I'm your host, Jenny McCormick Earhart, and it is, well, you know, Marquis, it's feeling like maybe fall's in the air.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Well, maybe. I don't know. Not really. You know what that is? That was like the power of suggestion I'm giving to Mother Nature there. Like, I want it to be in the air.
You want it to be in the air.
Yeah, it's still, 92 out there?
It's nice calm day.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm ready for it. I've had enough of the heat. I'm ready for the cool temperatures. Most importantly, you know, I'm really getting excited about fall food. You know, acorn squash with cinnamon on it. And, you know, just all those wonderful dishes that are a little heavier. You know, it's time to do some serious eating.
Got to put some...
Meat on the ribs. Yeah, you can tell I need to beef up for the winter time. Yeah, I'm just wasting away. Oh, well, God, welcome to the show. We are just so happy to be here and, you know, celebrating life in the South, Southern culture, Southern food, Southern men, Southern women.
Well,
Well, yeah, you're a Southern man.
Yeah.
I celebrate you, Marky. I celebrate you every day. I'm grateful for you and thankful for you. You're what makes this show sound so wonderful.
That's right.
Which is what makes me sad that you are moving on to the next adventure in your life.
Yes, I am.
And I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to be the strong steel magnolia that I'm called to be. You understand?
Yeah.
That you are just amazing and wonderful.
Just name a recipe after it.
I know, right? I can name several recipes after you. I need to dedicate the next book to you, you know? There is something to be said for having a producer that shares your appreciation for culinary, you know, everything culinary.
I love it.
Especially here in the South. But I've got an exciting story to tell you. But we won't talk about sad things today. We'll talk about happy things. There's a little skip in my step today.
Yes.
You're looking at a happy woman. And what makes me happy is maybe not what makes some women happy, but I have a new pantry at my house.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
I showed you the pictures. And this is not to be understated, the importance of a good, proper pantry. And for someone like me who has had homes before that had insufficient pantries, so shall we say, right? Insufficient storage space. You know, I am definitely one who is most appreciative for my new pantry. The house that I'm in now, my husband and I bought about a year ago, and it had a really proportionately tiny pantry compared to the size of the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that.
It has a good sized kitchen, you know, all the space I need there. But we were looking around and we were in love with the house. We were walking through the doorways and looking at all the different, you know, things in the house. And, this is perfect for us and our 6 children and their extraneous, you know, people that come with the children, right? They got the boyfriends and the husbands and the fiancés. So even though we have 6 kids, sometimes it's really 12, right?
Yes.
But anyway, so we're looking around the house and I'm like, I'm in love with the house. It's great. It's perfect. And we opened the door to the pantry. And all the air went right out of my balloon.
Not enough room for all 45 of your pots and pans.
You've seen it. Yeah, I know. And I was just like, no. This is just not going to cut it. I said, I need to be able to see everything. I can't cram everything into a small space. Do you see what I'm saying? So in that way, my husband was like, don't worry about it. It is not a problem. We can do something about this pantry. Well, on the other side of the pantry wall is the garage. And so he had this ingenious idea that we could just knock out the wall, right? And just take up some space in the garage, expand the pantry, right? And we've been talking about it for a while, and he started it about a month or 2 ago. And I have to say, he did it all by himself. I was most impressed.
That's good.
Yeah, there was a lot of hammering and banging and drywall dust everywhere. And then I got to help with the painting. And now, lo and behold, and by the way, folks, I'm going to post a before and after picture of Jenny's new pantry on the website because it makes me so happy. You know, some women collect shoes, right?
Yep.
Shoes and boots. I collect, Le Creuset Dutch ovens.
Dutch ovens. It's a lot of them. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, I got they're all different colors and they all serve different purposes. And every one of them makes me happy. I have a personal relationship with every one of those pots. I'm telling you. So anyway, I'm doing my happy pantry dance today. And folks, for you guys have any funny stories about your kitchen, or let's just say kitchen challenges, we would love to hear about them. Some of the funniest stories I've heard are about just the need to be, I guess, inventive in the kitchen and with small spaces.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You got to come up with ingenious new ways of creating the space that you need to be efficient in your kitchen.
It's kind of how Tupperware came about.
It is, isn't it? That's a great story. We should do a whole segment on the Tupperware story.
So Southern Tupperware. Just do it.
Isn't it really? Those Tupperware parties. I remember my mother going to them. I love them. You don't have to go to parties anymore to buy it, though.
No, just go online.
It's a lot easier. But anyway, so folks, if you have a funny kitchen storage or funny kitchen story, we'd love to hear about it. You can email us at radio@southernsistershome.com, and maybe we'll share your story on the air, like my funny pantry story. Yeah, every one of Moe's Dutch ovens has a nice place to sit on a shelf now. You know what I did the other night? I was getting ready to go to bed. I just walked in there and turned on the light and stared at my pantry. Is that weird?
No,
it's weird.
It's not weird
right?
for someone who cooks like you do.
I guess not. But, it's been a fun week in my kitchen this week. We've been doing some kind of fun and interesting things. I've talked a lot about how we're trying to sort of clean up our diet a little bit, eating a lot of healthy food. Really what that equates to, folks, it just means not eating a lot of processed food. I've been eating more, lots of fresh vegetables. That's sort of like the foundation of our diet. Lots of good lean protein. I've had some fun with vegetables this week. Yes. Fun in the kitchen with vegetables. I tell you?
That's another cookbook.
It's another. So you could write a whole cookbook on Southern vegetables, right?
Yep.
Does any place in the country have more vegetables than we do?
No, not in this country.
Not in this country. We got every possible kind. I had fun this week with some cauliflower. I have to tell you, I tossed it in a little bit of chopped it up and tossed it in a little bit of Chipotle infused olive oil. Okay. You can buy it that way, or you can infuse it yourself, a little Chipotle into your olive oil. And I just tossed that a little bit, drizzled it over the cauliflower, tossed it good, spread it out on a baking sheet and roasted it at about 425 for about 20 to 25 minutes. And I would shake, every now and then I'd reach in there and kind of shake the pan, kind of turn them around a little bit. They got the most wonderful, deep, sort of nutty, caramelized flavor. They got a little brown around the edges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could have eaten a bowl of that just like popcorn. It was wonderful.
That sounds so good.
Isn't it great? And then I did some braised cabbage. Now, that doesn't sound exciting, probably.
Nope.
But you have to understand my history. I come from a family where Mama boiled the cabbage. It tasted like, limp, water-flavored lettuce.
Yep.
It's kind of like, that's the cabbage that I was raised on. Who knew cabbage could be so wonderful? I braised it. What I did was I threw about a fourth of a cup of chopped pancetta into the skillet with a little olive oil, sauteed that. Then I just chopped up the one entire head of cabbage. In it goes to the pan. I toss it around. Probably about halfway through the cooking, I added a little more another drizzle of olive oil to kind of keep it nice and lubricated, and just seared it and tossed it. And it just kind of, first of all, it reduced down a little bit, and all that wonderful, bacony pancetta flavor tossed in the olive oil, and the cabbage just softened up. It was out of this world. It really was.
I got a new collard green recipe that uses cabbage.
Cabbage in your collard green recipe? Really?
Yes, it's so delicious.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Oh, my goodness. I have to share it with you.
Yeah. Well, I like to say that we're sort of reinventing the way a lot of these traditional vegetables were prepared in the South. I haven't boiled anything in a couple of years now. I
don't boil.
There's no reason to. But it begs the question. When I was working with the pancetta and the cabbage and the braised cabbage, I started thinking about, the concept of pancetta and prosciutto and those different sort of pork products. And really what got me thinking about it this week was the fact that today is a very important holiday.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it is.
What is it?
It should be on your calendar,
It
Mark
should be.
Knowing you, this one should be on your calendar.
I should start writing stuff down.
Well, I'll let you know. It's National Baby Back Ribs Day. Hello. National Baby Back Ribs. Oh, yeah. So I was thinking I had pork on the brain anyway. So I'm tossing my pancetta around in the pan and thinking to myself, pancetta, bacon, prosciutto, what really is the difference between these? And I figured, our listeners might be kind of wondering a little bit about that also.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about it, guys. Bacon and pancetta both are a cured pork belly, okay? That's the thing that they have most in common, right? They are both typically made from pork belly, and they're cured for a certain length of time, and they're also considered raw. In other words, they need to be cooked before they're eaten.
So
Got
bacon,
it?
pancetta, raw.
Pancetta, right. And you can have pancetta sliced, right, which is wonderful. You can wrap it around things and bake it, right, or cubed the way I did it with my braised cabbage, right, in the skillet. So there you go. You got your bacon and your pancetta. Now, what is the real difference between bacon and pancetta? It's going to be the curing process, all right? Pancetta is simply cured. That's it. And the focus is really on how this happens. It can be done with salt, but sometimes spices and other aromatics are used to sort of infuse that pancetta with, with really yummy flavors. As I said, it can be sliced paper thin or it can be cubed, right? Now with bacon, also pork belly, right? Also cured. But what they do with bacon is they take it one step further. Bacon is smoked after it's been cured, right? And this is usually a cold smoking process, meaning that the bacon isn't actually, heated and cooked during the smoking. It does remain raw. Got it? And it can be, of course, smoked with all sorts of different chips. We've talked in the past about the different types of chips and ways to smoke things. Now, so there you go. You've got your pancetta and your bacon. Now, what about, you might be saying, what about prosciutto?
Yeah, what about it?
Love prosciutto, right?
Yes,
now, that is a cured ham, okay? It's not pork belly, it's ham. It's very different from either bacon or pancetta, but we think of it, sometimes it gets confusing. Sometimes the word prosciutto and pancetta can sound similar to some people, especially for us, non-Italians people, right? Sometimes we can get a little confused with that. But most importantly, the thing to remember about pancetta, or prosciutto, is that it's made from the hind leg of the pig, meaning the ham, okay? And so typically that has also been cured, right? So, and it's cooked, right? So this is not, you can eat prosciutto right out of the package. It's not raw. You don't have to cook it. Now, you can take it and you can wrap it around asparagus, put it in the oven, and that will allow it to kind of crisp up a little bit around the edges, right? But you can, it's just like ham. You can just eat it right out of the package and not have to worry about cooking it. So how about that?
I've eaten pancetta right out of the package.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? Oh, man. Anyway, I have to tell you, it did wonders, or the pancetta did wonders for my braised cabbage. It was delicious. Oh, folks, there's so much to talk about. We got all kinds of food talk today. Several segments of food talk today.
Yes.
So we're going to roll back into the next segment. We're going to be celebrating National Barbecue Rib Day. Hello. And we'll see you right back.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program, the show for Southern women and the men who adore us and our Southern food. Can I say? Yes, I'm telling you. Oh, well, folks, we are talking about National Baby Back Rib Day. You know, I really don't need a national holiday to celebrate that.
Not at all.
Not at all. You know, a lot of times I'm looking at these like that's the only day I'm going to eat them. Are you kidding me? These are one of my favorite things in the world. And we're going to talk about them today. And we're going to talk about a couple of really yummy recipes and maybe a few misconceptions.
Oh.
Yes, about baby back ribs. Because people think they know what they are. And maybe you do. Maybe you don't.
They don't.
No, they may not. You know, and quite frankly, I was a little misled in the beginning about them. I didn't know exactly what they were or where they came from or what part of the hog, shall we say. Do you remember, Marky, do you remember when we were doing beef a while back? We were talking about, I think it was National Barbecue Month or something.
Yes,
and we were talking about beef and cuts of beef, and we had our famous, famous for Southern Sisters. We had our diagram, and she's still on the website, Harriet the Heifer.
Yes,
do you recall her?
Yes.
And she was designed and sort of created for educational purposes, right? So you can look at her and kind of see where the different cuts of beef are. Well, we have a pork equivalent today.
Oh, what's the name of this?
Now, here's the thing, though. She's not as attractive as Harriet.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. And it really has nothing to do with the fact that she is a hog and not a heifer. This truly has to do with the fact that she just doesn't have a lot of detail on her diagram. Do you see her? I'm showing Marquis the diagram.
None at all.
She's very functional, but she needs a little, little lipstick, little powder.
She's very delicious.
She's a Southern woman. She shouldn't be going out looking like this.
No, not at all.
And folks, you'll see what I'm talking about if you go to our website and check out Hattie the Hog. Isn't that funny?
Hattie the Hog. I like that.
Hattie the Hog. And the reason that Hattie the Hog is helpful and educational for us is that she's a diagram, right? And she kind of gives you an overview of the different cuts of pork and where they come from on the hog. So for that purpose, she is very important to us because we can kind of look at her and see, okay, now that's where the ham comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hind leg. That's like the thigh leg. That's where the that's where the St. Louis cut of ribs come from.
My
right?
favorite cut, but yes.
Is that your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that. This is where the picnic ham comes from, which is actually at the front of the pig, whereas the other kind of ham is at the back leg, right? So we have I think no discussion of hogs and ribs is appropriate without a really good presidential quote to go along with it.
Oh,
wouldn't you agree?
Depends on which president.
Well, this one's Harry S. Truman.
Oh, that's a good president.
He's okay, right? Yeah, we like him. Okay, how about this? This is what he had to say. No man should be allowed to be president who does not understand hogs.
I agree.
Yeah? Do you?
I don't know if he's probably talking about raising hogs, but
yeah, I don't know. There may be some cultural. Yeah, it's a different time frame. But can't go wrong if you understand baby back ribs, and that's a little bit what we're going to talk about today, folks. There's so many different ways to make them. We're going to talk about just a wet barbecue. We're going to talk about a dry rib, and I know, Marky, I know you love that.
Yes.
But mostly, let's solve the issue of what exactly is a baby back rib.
What exactly is a baby back rib?
Is it? Well, first and foremost, you need to understand, folks, and I'm sure that most of you probably already know this. It does not come from a baby pig.
Oh.
No, there's no baby involved at all.
Well, that's good.
Because there's something. Have you seen the movie Babe?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay, so you know what I'm.
Babe and ribs. Oh.
Oh, isn't that something?
You just did this to my childhood. Why?
I know. I love that movie. It's a little quirky.
Yeah.
A little quirky. I do love that movie. That's actually how I first got interested in Australian Shepherds.
Oh.
And hence came my dog Dixie, the Australian Shepherd. But no, there's no babes involved. No little Wilbur?
No.
Baby pigs, baby Wilbur. No. Here's let's kind of give a little overview, guys, and we're going to start at the beginning with pork and just sort of what it is, where, how it's cut, and what it really means to us in our culinary tradition here in the South. Now, I have some interesting little food article here by food writer Meathead Goldwyn. Yes, that is his real name.
Sounds like a good name.
Here's what he has to say about pork. Pork is a blank canvas on which you can paint your masterpiece. Steaks have more innate flavor and need absolutely no adornment, but pork is milder, calling for the creative touch of a culinary artist wielding a brush laden with sauce, a cooker swathed in smoke, or a smattering of seasonings massaged into its flesh. That's almost poetic, isn't it?
It is.
Just sounds wonderful. And I have to tell you, I did a dish last night, and believe it or not, it's the first time I'd made this. I found cubed pork loin steaks at my butcher. I finally found a real butcher.
Cube pork loin steaks?
Yes. Now, you know what cubed beef steak is, right? That's a common, right?
Yeah.
We use that for country fried steak, things like that. This was cubed pork steak. It was a pork loin, right? It was fabulous. I seasoned it up. I pan-seared it. And then I whipped up a little mustard sauce to go with it. It was kind of a little spicy. Had a little mayo, yellow mustard of all things, and a good squirt of sriracha sauce in there with some salt and kosher salt and pepper. And I just put a little dollop of that on the side. That with that braised
cabbage.
That was good. But I digress. Okay, back to the pork. So there we go. Now that's what we have to say about pork. We love it, but it is definitely in needing of a little enhancement, shall we say, right? Now, if you were looking at your butcher's case, you might see it bulging with baby back ribs, spare ribs.
All right, give me country ribs.
country ribs and rib tips. It's hard to know what to buy, right? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a little overview of the pig, the hog, right? And let you know the pig has 14 rib bones, right? And they are attached to the spine. And usually they're divided into 4 popular cuts, all right? You've got your baby back ribs, your spare ribs, your St. Louis cut ribs, and your rib tips. Now, here we go. Here's a little anatomy lesson, Marquis. Now, we're going to start at the top, right, the spine. So starting at the top, and you come down onto the ribs, those at the top are the baby back ribs, the part of the ribs that is closest to the top of the spine, right, closest to the backbone. And it's all of this is sort of nestled beneath the loin muscle, okay? Now, the baby backs are curved. They're round bones. They're close together, and most of the meat is on the top of the bones, right? Okay. Now, as you move further from the spine, going down the sides, the bones get larger, flatter, straighter, and wider apart. So, therefore, they have more meat between them. Got it? So, there is more fat marbling in the meat as you go further from the spine and closer to the belly. So, right? So, the front ribs are connected to the breastbone with a small number of bones and cartilage known as the rib tips. So you see, folks, the baby back ribs, the St. Louis cut ribs, and the rib tips, they're all just part of the same rib, right? It just depends on what location on the hog you're talking about, okay? How about that?
Yeah.
New education. Now you know something you may or may not have known before. Now, most importantly is, what do we do with these fabulous baby back ribs?
What do we do with them?
You know, you've been to the butcher, you've been to the store, you've come home with a couple of slabs, 2, 3, 10, depending on how hungry you are. What are we going to do with these babies? Well, I've got a great recipe for you, and this is called my ultimate 9-hour barbecue ribs. Hello. This is my go-to recipe. It's from my first book, Sunday in the South. And it is just I'm telling you, and they slow cook in the oven all day long. You do a little prep work in the morning and just let them go. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 full racks of baby back ribs, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1 medium onion finely chopped, 6 tablespoons of butter, 2.5 cups of ketchup or chili sauce, 1 cup brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of spicy mustard. I like the kind with a little horseradish in it. Half of a cup of dark corn syrup, half a cup of honey. And folks, this will be on the website, so if you don't have time to write it down now, you can catch it there. Then we need a half a cup of apple cider vinegar, a half a cup of pineapple juice, Marquis. Hello. Okay. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Right? 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of chili powder. I even like the hot variety of chili powder. That's an option for you. 3 teaspoons, or hence 1 tablespoon salt, 1.5 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, or more.
Or more.
And 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, folks, this is an easy one. Whip it all up together, everything together. You're going to preheat the oven to 190 degrees.
Oh,
that's it.
It's a low oven.
It's a low oven, but don't worry. It's going to cook. Now, what you're going to do in a medium saucepan, you're going to melt the butter, cook the garlic and the onion until sauce, add all the remaining ingredients, bring it to a boil, reduce the heat, and simmer it for about 30 minutes, just letting it kind of slow cook. Oh, your house is going to start smelling good, too. And anyway, you're going to let it cool. Now, you're going to cut your baby back ribs racks in half. You're going to layer them in a large baking pan and just cover them with a generous amount of the sauce. Cover it tightly with aluminum foil and bake it for 9 hours. Did you hear me?
God.
9 hours. Yes.
I can just taste it.
Yeah. The mouths will be watering. Dogs from across the neighborhood will be like making their way to your house. They'll be salivating on your front porch. You're going to, guys, when it comes out of the oven, you're going to discard the drippings and you're going to serve the ribs with some of the extra barbecue sauce.
Discard the drippings? No, I'm going to save those.
Well, you're going to do that. You know what you can do? You can dip a little white bread.
Yes.
Have you ever done that? Stand there and just dip the white bread into the drippings. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Hello. And we also have, we've run out a little bit of time on this segment, but we have a wonderful dry rub recipe, the Southern Sisters dry rub recipe that will be on our website. Check us out at southernsistershome.com. Just click on the blog and all of the recipes we talk about on the show are right there for you. And we'll be right back.
I fix your favorite dishes, hoping this good food fills you. Work my hands to the bone in the kitchen alone.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters Radio program. I'm your host, Jenny McCormick Earhart, talking about, well, food again, Marquis.
Yes.
Here we go again. Oops, I did it again. We're talking about food. And in this segment, it's a little bit of a continuation of something we touched on last week, which I personally found fascinating, and I got a lot of really good feedback about it. We were discussing foods that Southerners eat, meaning, okay, foods that are more typical to the South, right? Foods that we love, foods that we do, shall we say, better than our northern counterparts.
Way better.
Right. And I qualified it last week by saying it's not that they don't, dabble in some of these dishes in other parts of the country. It's just they're quintessentially Southern dishes, and we do them well. I'll just be frank. We do them better.
Yeah, we do.
We do them better. We're just better at it. And then we talked about all kinds of sort of interesting Southern dishes last week, and I got some more for you this week.
Yes, what we got.
Sorry. Okay, what do you think about, this is going to be my favorite pie in the world. It's pecan pie.
A pecan pie.
No, I'm sorry. What did you? Pecan
pie.
You mean pecan pie?
Yeah, pecan pie.
Pecan. Okay. You know what? I will tell you, my husband and I disagree on this also. And I think it has a lot to do with where you were raised. Okay. It's kind of like the whole praline and praline.
Oh, yeah. It's a praline.
Right? It's praline. That's more like the South Carolina pronunciation, right? But the Louisiana, the more French influence, they pronounced them pralines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
that's why.
What does it matter? We're talking pecan. We're talking pecans.
Yeah,
pecans.
Yeah.
You know, my husband says peas come in a can, not in a con.
Not in a con.
That's his way of correcting me. Now, you know, pecan pie. Okay, now this is a Southern classic, no question about it. Now, some attribute this pie to the French colony of Louisiana when it was a colony, and others say that it's the Cairo Syrup Company that entirely invented this pie in order to promote their corn syrup.
Yeah.
We all know that the classic Cairo syrup pecan pie recipe. It's printed right on the back of the jar. And that, quite frankly, that's the one I was raised on.
Me too.
Yeah. But come to find out, there are other incarnations, and you've probably seen them over the years. Well, haven't you seen some of like the chocolate pecan pies, the maple syrup pecan pies? That's another very popular incarnation. So not everybody uses Cairo, right? There's the Cairo camp. They think that is the way, the only way.
It is
to make it with the corn syrup. I guess I know where you fall.
Yes.
And then the others, use some alternative methods of sweetening up that pie, meaning maple syrup. I even read one recipe this week where they use a combination of brown sugar and water and a little molasses to sort of create their own sort of sweet syrup. And that's what they use in the pecan pie. I don't know that it really matters. I just love it.
I do too.
It's nuts and sugar and pie crust, basically. Right?
That's all you need.
Simple as best. And this is my daughter's favorite pie. I'm going to be making one. Is it fall yet? Did we determine it's
I don't think so.
20 something days left till fall.
We're trying to get there, but it's not yet.
You know what I'm going to celebrate the first day of fall, I think, by buying a new pair of boots and making myself a pecan pie. That's what I'm going to do. I don't care if it's 95 degrees out. It is fall, and I am missing my boots. I am a Southern woman, and I want to put on my boots. Anyway, guys. Okay, so pecan pie. We covered that. How about cobbler?
Yes, I love a good peach cobbler.
Now, we can trace this back to our English ancestry. Typically in the UK, a lot of their cobblers, or they sometimes called them pies, were more savory in nature. Beef pie, kidney pie, things like that, right? So, of course, when the European and the English immigrants came over, they brought a lot of their traditional recipes, their favorite recipes, to the colonies. Not all of them translated perfectly. And over time, the cobbler, right, sort of evolved and morphed into more of a sweet dessert. Okay? Now, you can still certainly have cobblers that are savory. For all intents and purposes, I guess a savory pie or a savory cobbler could be like if you think of chicken pot pie.
Mincemeat pie.
Mincemeat pie. Even chicken and dumplings are kind of a take on that, right? Think about it, right? It just does. So anyway, so it's not a fancy preparation, but boy, do I love cobbler, right? And most of our Southern cobblers are based on a seasonal fruit, right? We do our apple cobblers in the fall and the winter. We do our berry cobblers in the summertime. And so it's some sort of combination of fruit and sugar and flour and butter, all kind of mixed up and baked until golden bubbly.
Delicious.
Do you remember Steel Magnolias? The cuppa recipe? It was a cup of fruit cocktail, a cup of flour, and a cup of sugar.
Yep.
Right? Mix it all together and bake it until it's golden bubbly. Ah, yeah. Cobbler. Hello.
Love it.
Okay, so those are two wonderful Southern foods that we all love here. How about cheese straws?
Not a fan.
Now, I did not know that about you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have a look of disappointment on my face?
Yeah. You do. I'm sorry.
Okay, what I have to say about cheese straws is that they are one of life's little Southern pleasures. Okay? Now, Southern lore, meaning folklore, Southern lore tells us that since cheese was sort of long imported into the hot and humid South, that baking cheese into a recipe with flour was just one way of sort of preserving the cheese and prolonging the life of the cheese. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Now, have you tried cheese straws with a little cayenne pepper on top?
I have not.
Okay, I'm wondering, is it the texture that you don't like, or is it the...
I'm not really a cheese fan.
Okay.
I know.
We can't be friends anymore, Marky.
I know.
I'm just messing with you. I know, but you know what I have done lately? Because I told you I've been kind of cutting out some of the white flour in my diet. So I did some cheese coins this week that are nothing more than baked cheese. Literally, that is it. what I did was I shredded up a whole bunch of Monterey Jack cheese, and then I had a baking sheet, right? And I made little tiny piles of the cheese on like I'm putting down cookie dough, but they look like little haystacks, right? The shredded cheese. And I baked them at 350 degrees. Takes probably about 12 to 15 minutes for them to melt and then to start to crisp up. I leave them in the oven until they're nice and crisp, and then I take them out. This is a fabulous, low carb dish, or I should say snack, I guess. And they're just like the little crispy cheese coins. They're fabulous. I love them.
Have them with some soup.
Have them with some soup, right? Yeah. You don't even miss the flour when you have something like that. Now, I will say, folks, that not everybody in our listening audience may be a fan of chitlins.
I love them.
Okay, we're going to talk about this.
It's so funny. I hate cheese, but I love chitlins.
Marquis, I love you with all your quirks. That doesn't matter. No, I did not grow up eating chitlins. I am a Southern woman. I was raised by a Southern woman. But, I think with the sort of migration of people from the country towards the more suburban and city areas, some of those traditional, dishes have kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. But I have a great appreciation for things that I haven't had in the past or things that I'm not accustomed to eating. So you can educate me. Now, tell me a little bit about your memory of chitlins and how you like to make them.
I'll tell you the truth. Chitlins, when I was growing up, was disgusting. They're not for a child's palate.
No.
They have a really gamey, earthy, and that's the culinary way of saying, bile taste.
Yeah, I got it. I got the picture.
And so, but just like everything else that we have nowadays, you have to try to make it more appetizing and appeasing.
Right.
So what I do with them is I get them pre-clean and I re-clean them myself. I take off some of the extra fat, stuff like that.
Right.
And what we used to do, people would just boil them. You just boil the poo out of them. But that's boring. You just get a nasty pile of meat.
Now, is that a particular culinary term? Boil the poo out of them?
Yes, for chitlins, boil the poo out of them is the right culinary term. All right. So, but what I do is I get some green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, just regular bell peppers, onions, garlic. You can use a can of tomatoes, whatever you prefer in like a regular stewed dish.
Right.
You use that and you add the chitlins and you let it cook for hours, 3 to 4 hours. Just let it cook.
So this is a long process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you want them to be nice and tender. But the thing with chitlins is they have a lot of fat on them as well. And that gives you a lot of that off taste. So what I do is I skim it off during the cooking process because it'll float to the top. I just skim it off during the cooking process. And I tell you, I have converted so many people to eating chitlins this way.
Yeah.
I just put it over rice.
Over rice. Yeah, you might convert me. Yeah. So there's just a little technique involved.
It's just a little technique. It's just like anything else. I mean, some people don't like beef kidneys. But if you prepare them correctly, you get rid of some of the off flavor.
Right.
It tastes like a regular piece of beef, I hate people that say they hate chitlins.
I know. Kind of like I feel about people who say they hate cheese.
Oh, well,
I'm just kidding. I love you, Marquis. There's nothing I don't like about you. Okay, so cheese straws we covered, right? Chitlins we talked about. What do you think of boiled peanuts?
I love boiled peanuts.
Okay, now this is about as quintessentially Southern as you can get.
Yes.
And I know I say that about a lot of dishes.
No, this is.
Right? Okay, so think of where you see them. And this is always what cracks me up is you do see them in some grocery stores. But where are you most likely to see boiled peanuts? Think about it. Gas stations?
On the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
On the road, right?
Yes.
That's kind of like part of sort of the appeal, the culinary regionality, I guess, of this particular item, is that you can do them in like oil drums, right? I've seen people boil them in there. It's incredible, isn't it? Now, interestingly, guys, believe it or not, peanuts originated in South America. Yet another Southern food, Marquis, that is not actually originally from here. You know what they're called down there?
What are they called?
Ground nuts. How about that? They became a part of the Southern diet, though, here. And now boiling, there's a lot of stories about how we first started boiling our peanuts. Some people attribute that technique to the Confederate soldiers, that during the time of the war, during the Civil War, they lacked food. And so what they would do is they would dig up the raw peanuts, right, and boil them.
It
was easy. Think about it, right?
Think about a raw peanut versus a boiled peanut. It's completely different flavors.
So totally different taste. And if you're not expecting that, if you're thinking it's just going to be like a warm or a soft, salty sort of traditional peanut, it's a completely different.
And they absorb so many flavors.
They do, right?
Yes, it's so good.
It's almost a little bit like, would you say it tastes a little bit more like a black-eyed pea?
Yes.
Right? Than a peanut. It does. However you want to slice it, though, you got to go get some now. Well, there you go, guys. Some more quintessentially Southern foods that we enjoy here in the South. You can eat them anywhere in the country. But between me and you, They just taste better down here.
They do.
And we'll be right back with our Southern Narrative.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio show. Now, with your Southern narrative, sharing stories from around the South. Here is your host, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
The Lucky Dogs of South Pittsburgh, story by Chuck Reese, presented by the Bitter Southerner. Among the most prized objects owned by Southern families are the cast iron skillets passed down from generation to generation. The one in your kitchen probably came from Lodge Manufacturing Company in the tiny Tennessee town of South Pittsburgh. Most of us know well the memories contained in those old skillets, but we know very little about the integrity of the people who make them. A visit to the Lodge foundry certainly has lessons to teach us about the South and its culture. But more importantly, Lodge also exemplifies something remarkably rare in today's business world. A family-run business that has built a booming global business without selling out its hometown. If you have spent time in small, once industrial Southern towns, the house that sits at the corner of Magnolia Avenue and 3rd Street in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, would probably strike you as familiar. The brick home just has that substantive, sturdy look of a place that once housed the most important family in town. The house was built in 1877 by one Joseph Lodge. You already know his name. It's on the bottom of your black iron skillets. But unlike many such homes in similar towns, this is still very much the town father's house. Today, its occupants are Lodge's great-granddaughter, Carolyn Kellerman Millheiser. Millheiser calls herself the company's historian by default. "I have stuff," she says. She looks at Mark Kelly, a Lodge marketing promotions manager who's tagged along to introduce me to Carolyn. "Does he want to look at my stuff?" "Believe me," Kelly says, "she has a heck of a collection." I definitely want to look at her stuff. She graciously guides me through the house and into its tiny kitchen. "Right here is some of my stuff," she says, and points to some shelves just outside the kitchen. The dogs. The shelves are full of small dogs of various breeds, black and heavy cast from iron, in the Lodge Company's foundry a few blocks away. Their purpose was to be doorstops. These are the things they sold when the Great Depression was on, Millhiser says. They could sell doorstops when they couldn't sell skillets. But I am more interested in the other stories that these little dogs could tell. Stories about an independent, family-owned corporation that found a way to keep its employees working through the Great Depression and has now gone on global success. Today, after 120 years, Lodge Manufacturing's brand reaches around the world. The company is constantly finding innovative ways to make more and better products, and it has sold millions of skillets. Not just the black cast iron pans it has always made, but also lines of seasoned steel and enameled cast iron cookware. And for all those years, through all that growth, the company has never left South Pittsburgh, its little hometown of 3,000 people on the Tennessee River west of Chattanooga. In the age of globalization, how did that happen? And why? With a business so big and still booming past its 120th birthday, surely the Wall Street investment bankers would have come calling. The management consultants would have parachuted in to do corporate mojo, and the whole business would have been broken up with the town's jobs shipped hither and yon. And South Pittsburgh would have wound up like so many other small southern towns that once thrived on heavy industry. But it didn't. It thrives. This kind of thing just doesn't happen anymore. The story I'm most curious about is why it did happen here, how this global company has remained family-owned, controlled by 40-odd members of the Kellerman and Lodge families. Carolyn Millhiser is one of those shareholders, and since she has already owned up to being the company's historian, I decided to ask her. One of the things that's immediately striking about Lodge, I say to Millhiser, is that typically, when you have a company that's making a product that is so widely consumed, sold in different countries, usually what happens is investment bankers from Wall Street show up. They've tried, Millhiser replies, the faintest air of disdain in her tone. Well, how did the family resist? I asked. What was it that made everyone want to keep running the company as a family company? I don't know, she said. She pauses for a moment, then says, it was in our ethic. Not only are we fourth, going on fifth generation owners, but the employees are also third and fourth generation employees. You know, we're part of the fiber of this town. We're the only real business that's been here for a long time. We're the only one that's really left, and I don't think we've ever thought about selling. It's made a living for the people that were working here, and those of us who lived away and have some ownership through stock. It hasn't been a necessity. She pauses again, and then asks me, do you know what I'm trying to say? I think I do. Millhiser is trying to say that for 5 generations, her family has been more interested in this question. What will it do to South Pittsburgh? Than it has been in this one. How much money can we make? I know enough about big business to know this. What Lodge Manufacturing Company has achieved in today's business world is just a miracle. The first thing you need to know about Lodge as a business is that the company is just as dedicated to and just as successful at innovation, efficiency, and quality control as any big publicly traded company. In fact, I find myself wondering if all those management consultants with all their 6 Sigmas and lean manufacturing processes and whatnot might do well to visit South Pittsburgh. They might learn a thing or two. After you get over being wowed by the thousands of flying sparks that result from any operation involving streams of molten metal, the first thing you notice when you walk into Lodge's foundries is 2 giant piles of raw materials. One pile is raw pig iron. The other one confuses me a bit. It's a giant pile of unseasoned cast iron skillets. So I ask Larry Rado, the technical services manager who is walking me through the foundry, why the skillets are part of the raw materials. He takes the opportunity to explain Lodge's quality control process to me. Here's how it works. After the individual skillets come out of their black sand mold, each one is hung by a hook on a system of conveyor chains. As the pans move through the rest of the manufacturing process, any Lodge employee, even if that person's job isn't in the foundry, has the right to pull a skillet off its hook and dump it in the scrap heap right up to the second when someone in the packaging operation pulls the pan off the hook and slides it into a cardboard box. Even the slightest imperfection can doom a skillet and send it back to the raw material pile. I ask Rito what percentage of each day's production gets recycled as raw material. He tells me the answer is somewhere north of 10%, and that on some days the number can go as high as 14%. I wonder aloud why that makes business sense. Then he tells me the lodge's customer return rate. Out of all the lodge skillets shipped to retailers worldwide, customers return only 0.03%. That means for every 33,000 lodge skillets that leave the foundry, only one of those skillets will be returned. Your chance of being struck by lightning in your lifetime is about 100 times greater than your chance of buying a faulty lodge skillet. I end my visit in South Pittsburgh with a visit to Bob Kellerman, Lodge's CEO. He has worked in the company for 46 years. Kellerman has overseen the most impressive growth of the business in the company's history. I ask him how he feels about what the company has achieved. When I think back over 46 years, we have come a long way, he says, and it delights me to no end to see our brand as it stands now globally and certainly here in the U.S. market. We have a lot of passionate people. I think back when we were a fraction of the size and we weren't even putting skillets in a box at the time I arrived. We put in a piece of wire with a hang tag imprinted with a customer's name and address and just wired the skillets together and threw them on the truck 4 or 5 stacks high. People have asked me over the years, how have we survived as a 120-year-old family brand? He continues. And I guess I boil it down to 4 things: innovation, unwavering commitment to quality, reinvestment, and dedicated, passionate people. We stay up with the times. We have done business with Walmart for 36 years. I know how long it has been because I called my wife from Bentonville, Arkansas to ask her out for a first date. We had just picked up Walmart's business. Kellerman talks about the difficulties Walmart suppliers typically face. They now have 4,000 stores here in the States. Typically, they outgrow their suppliers and then they have to go to secondary suppliers. Then it gets to be a price war between the suppliers. But because under Kellerman's leadership, the company has been able to expand its production capacity fast enough over the years to keep up with the giant retailer's growth, Lodge has never fallen victim to such price wars. Kellerman could talk all day about the innovations in manufacturing technology that have allowed them to keep pace with a radically shifting American retail economy, but I sense that there's something deeper than these innovations that has held the business together over all those years. I tell Kellerman what I'm thinking, and he goes immediately to the company's connection with its community and its employees. Lodge couldn't be made in New York City, he says. We are proud that we are made here in this little teeny town in Tennessee and been a member of the community for all of these years. Why does it matter so much to you and other members of the family over the years to keep that really close, tight community with the, within and the people in it? It's just in our culture, he replies. I ask him if he's talking about the culture of his family or the culture of the company. The culture of the company and the culture of the family, he says. We are a family business. As I'm leaving his office, Kellerman says, I want to make you a member of the Lucky Dog Society. He hands me a tiny, black, cast-iron dog. It's the only dog in our line, by the way, he says. Do you sell these? I ask. No, Kellerman says. We just give them out to special people. I don't know what I've done to be a special person in Kellerman's eyes, but I feel genuine gratitude for the gift because I know the significance of the story behind that little dog. My lucky dog sits on my desk, smiling up at me as I write this. I think I'm going to keep it there because it reminds me of something important, that even in the merciless cutthroat world of global business, it remains possible for a company to grow, to stay up with the times, to succeed in big ways while never neglecting its hometown and its people. South Pittsburgh, I conclude, is a little town slap full of lucky dogs. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week on the Southern Sisters radio program. If you want to check out all of our recipes, including our yummy barbecue baby back rib recipes and our dry rub recipe, check out our website, southernsistershome.com. Just click on the blog for all the recipes, and we'll see you next week.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.